עץ חיים היא למחזיקים בה ותומכיה מאושר תרחיה דרכי נועם וכל נתיבותיה שלום.
Shalom. Our Torah portion for this week is Emor, and it begins with chapter 21 of the book of Leviticus. However, today I want to discuss with you something that happens in chapter 24 of this week's portion. Let's take a look at it in the Hebrew. Vayetze ben isha Yisraelit v'hu ben ish Mitzri b'toch b'nei Yisrael v'yinatzu b'machaneh ben ha-Yisraelit v'ish ha-Yisraeli vayikov ben ha-isha ha-Yisraelit et Hashem vaykalel v'yaviu oto el Moshe v'shem imo Shulamit bat Divri lemate Dan vayanichuhu v'mishmar lifrosh lehem al pi Adonai. The son of an Israelite woman went out, and he was the son of an Egyptian man among the children of Israel. They fought in the camp, the son of the Israelite woman and the Israelite man. The son of the Israelite woman pronounced the name and blasphemed, and so they brought him to Moses. The name of his mother was Shulamit, the daughter of Divri, of the tribe of Dan, and they placed him under guard to clarify for themselves through Hashem. What we have here is the first debate regarding the status of a child of a mixed marriage. In the situation that we just read about, we have a young man whose mother was Jewish. She was from the tribe of Dan, but his father was Egyptian. This was an intermarriage that might have taken place in Egypt before the Jewish people left. Now, we're told by the sages later on that this young man wanted to pitch his tent with his mother's family in the area that was designated for the tribe of Dan, her tribe. But he is not allowed to do so. And a fight ensues. He's rejected, apparently, and he blasphemes God, which was very unfortunate. But he felt rejected, apparently, by his mother's family. What's interesting here is, according to Jewish law, according to traditional Orthodox Jewish law, this young man should have been considered Jewish. Matrilineal descent, that is, the Jewish status going through the mother's side, has been the Jewish way for at least 2,000 years. But one thing seems very clear to anyone who is a student of the Bible, and this is it, that patrilineal descent, that is, the Jewish status going through the father, was the way things were done in biblical times. Going back to the time of Joseph, for example, we see that Joseph marries an Egyptian woman, and there's no record of her converting. It wasn't even clear that Joseph was acknowledging his Jewish background at the time, and yet no one would ever claim that their children, Manasseh and Ephraim, were not Jewish. As a matter of fact, they became patriarchs of two of the tribes of Israel. Later on, we see that Moses himself married at least two non-Jewish women, one from Ethiopia, from the land of Cush, and the other from the land of Midian. And again, no one would claim that his children were not Jewish. When the monarchy was established later on in Israel, we see that certain of the Jewish kings took non-Jewish women as their wives. As a matter of fact, Rehoboam, the son of Solomon, had an Ammonite mother. And again, he was worthy enough, Jewish enough, to occupy the throne in Jerusalem. When did we go to a matrilineal way of determining Jewish status? That seems to have occurred during the time of the Roman occupation, sometime between 100 BCE and 200 CE. And there were a lot of reasons given for that change, but there certainly was a change. After the Bible, there was a change from patrilineal to matrilineal descent. Now, our times are different. The times in which we live are different from the time of the Bible, and different actually from the time of the Roman occupation of Israel 2,000 years ago. Here we are living in the free country of the United States of America, and the fact of the matter is, somewhere in the neighborhood of 50% of our people choose non-Jews as their life partners. And, of course, at least half of those who marry non-Jews are men. And we are caught up in a situation in which, if we follow traditional Jewish law as it has been prescribed for the last 2,000 years, we are rejecting at least a quarter of our descendants. And I don't know about you, but I think that this is not a wise thing to do. In the Reform movement in 1983, we decided to do things a little differently. Let me read you a statement made by the Central Conference of American Rabbis in 1983. It said, the Central Conference of American Rabbis declares that the child of one Jewish parent is under the presumption of Jewish descent. This presumption of the Jewish status of the offspring of any mixed marriage is to be established through appropriate and timely public and formal acts of identification with the Jewish faith and people. The performance of these mitzvot serve to commit those who participate in them, both parent and child, to Jewish life. Now, I was in Los Angeles at that meeting in 1983, and I voted in favor of this resolution because I believe that in this day and age there just aren't enough Jews in the world, and that anyone of Jewish descent, even if the person has one Jewish grandparent, we should welcome them into our fold. We should educate them. We should get them involved in Jewish life. Now, there may be some discussion as to what constitutes appropriate and formal acts of Jewish identification. It might be the mikveh or some other ritual that has been associated with conversion in the past. But nonetheless, we have to be open. We have to open our doors and our hearts to those people of Jewish descent who want a place in our Jewish community. Well, I hope that you will read this week's Torah portion and take a look at this passage in chapter 24 regarding what I think was an unfortunate incident, and come to your own conclusions, and I will see you perhaps next week. Shabbat Shalom.
למחזיקים בה וצורכיה